Okay, welcome. We'll start today in a seated position, please. Just sitting however it's comfortable for you, on a cushion or a chair, or straight on the ground, whatever you like. Just let your arms relax, loop the shoulders a few times, and let them settle into a comfortable position, just gently dropping away from ears. A feeling of broadening across the chest, but also just slightly soften down so we're sitting with ease. Let your eyes float closed. And just think about the alignment of your body, the way that you're vertically stacked from the pelvis to the rib cage, across the shoulders. Thinking of the position of your head, so we're not lifting, we're not jutting the chin forward, we're not dropping down, we're just nice and settled on top. So there's a sense of lifting and lengthening all the way up through the spine, out to the crown of the head, and then just slightly softening back down. Dropping in, noticing if there's any tightness around the hips today. Just easing any tension through the groin, inner thighs. Let the knees fall open, arms relaxed. And turning our attention to the breath. Notice if you can hear your own breathing. Just let it naturally slow, calm and quieten down. And then with your next breath in, let's float arms open wide and all the way to the top. Fingertips touch lightly, and with your out breath, open wide and float them back down your sides. We'll do this a few more times, moving in time with your breath. So breathing in as we lift, let the ribs lift away from the hips, and release back down. So just moving at your own pace if you want to go a bit slower or a bit quicker. And then with this last one, try and lead with your breath. So let the breath initiate in your body first. And the arms will just automatically float up, touch. And as the breath releases, float down your sides, fingertips to the ground. Bring one hand over your knee. And the other hand floats behind, lifting the chest and rotate open. You may like to let your eye gaze trail behind, gently stretching the neck. And then float arms wide, come around to the other side. Let your out breath turn your body further. Coming around to the first side again. Rotate with the out breath. And once more. Facing the front. With your next breath, just bring one arm up. And with the out breath, lean across. And try and anchor the hips. Still lifting ribs away from the hips. Let the shoulder fall, curve across. Breathe into this open side of the body. With the next breath, open, lift, curve across, and with the out breath, just easing over. Thinking about retaining some length up through both sides of the body so that we're not completely crunching in here. Still lifting and lengthening, Any tension through the groin or inner thighs, just let it fall away. Over to the first side again. Let's move with our breath. So inhale to lift. Exhale over. And inhale wide. Exhale over. Float fingertips behind. Prop up onto fingertips. Now lift the chest. Pull your shoulder blades towards each other. Try and lift around the heart space. Tip your head back to wherever it feels good. Holding for one more breath. And then with the out breath, let's come on forward, fingertips ahead of you, and just soften in. Feel your breath shift into the back of the body. Right out to the sides of the ribs. Coming over towards one side, so we're leaning over one thigh. Notice if there's something in your body that tenses up as you move into another position. So maybe that's around the opposite hip. Maybe it's around the shoulder. And then over to the other side. Just leaning in. Use your out breath to move deeper into the pose. All right, coming up and turn all the way over onto hands and knees. Okay, push down into the hands and round out through your spine. Coming through, draw the belly button down, lift the tailbone, lift your chest forward. Eye gaze just ahead of you. Now from a neutral spine, so we're halfway in between, take a look down one side. And around to the other side. Let's come back through center, rounding out. Lengthening through. Looking down one side. And the other. Okay, pushing down into your hands, tuck toes under and lift your hips high up towards the ceiling. Knees can be as bent as you need them to be, but try and push the chest through. Still lengthening all the way up through the spine, right up to the tailbone, pressing armpits through. And try and broaden across your shoulders so that we're not hunching up. So we're not hunching up here, we want to be creating width, broadness across the shoulders. Right, let's pedal on the spot. Just lower that one heel towards the ground at a time, bending the other knee. Okay, and then reset. Bend your knees deeply and press your belly towards your thighs. So deep knee bend, we're high up on the big toes. And then start to lengthen the legs, drawing the heels down and sending the tailbone high. Bending the knees deeply. So try and bend the toes a lot. And then lift hips, tilt tailbone to the sky and press your heels down just as far as you can, but without curving through your spine. So we want to focus on still keeping your spine exactly where it is. We'll do this one more time. So bending knees as much as you can, bend the toes, and then send hips high and press heels down. All right, let's drop knees and just give the wrists a bit of relief here. Circling and wriggle fingers. And then we'll come back up to our down dog, downward facing dog. Plant the hands, send your hips up. And this time we're going to bend the knees deeply and then push forward into a plank. Now keep coming all the way forward, keeping your spine long, a little lift in the belly. So shoulders are right out over the hands. And we're not dropping the head. Then lift hips up and back. Coming forward into your plank. Press the chest through. Then lift up and back. We'll do this one more time. All the way forward. And then all the way back. Now bend your knees and spring your right foot up by the hands. Coming into a lunge. Just take a moment here. And then drop the back knee down and lift on up. So you can flatten that back foot if it's more comfortable for you. Here we want a sense of tilting the tailbone downwards and lifting up through the belly. So you might be getting a really deep stretch up through the hip flexor. Okay, so we're not collapsing into the pose. We want to be nice and long, thinking about that vertical alignment through the body, hips, ribs, shoulders, crown of the head. And if you want to add on, float arms high. So just floating arms up to where you can without losing your posture. So we're still lifted. Depending on your overhead range, you might be to here. Float hands down. Tuck the back toes under, lift the knee off, and step back to your down dog. All right, bend knees deeply. Step the left foot through. Just pause here for a moment. Just easing in, waking up through the hips. And then drop the back knee down. So you can keep toes tucked if it's more comfortable, or I always prefer to flatten my foot. Okay, let's find our pose again. So nice and long, all the way up, kind of pushing into that hip stretch. So we're not just dropping and dumping into it. We want to be lifted, even a bit of power into that back foot, pressing it down into the ground, and then breathe arms up. Hold for another breath. Bring hands down, tuck toes under, lift the back knee off, and step back again. Pedal it out if you want to, or hold still. Press firmly into your hands. Remember that we're trying to widen across the shoulders and not let them hunch up by our ears. All right, bend knees deeply. Spring your right foot through. This time we'll come on up, float arms high. Now bend the back knee, belly pulling in. So still working into this hip stretch here. Now float arms open, pull them down. Sweep arms up, fingertips to the floor, drop the back knee, sweep arms high. Float open and down. Coming up. Touch down. Tuck the back toes under, knee off, sweeping up. Bend the back knee and open, and let's step back to our down dog. Hands to the floor. Step back. Spring the left foot through, and let's do the same thing on this side. So push down into the front heel as you rise. Bend the back knee so we can still work on that little pelvic tilt. Tilting down, lifting up through the front body, arms float wide. Reaching up, float down, knee to the ground. Breathe to rise, breathe out to open. Still pulling in through the front ribs. Coming up again. All the way up. Dip low, open, so still feeling this integrity through your core section, staying really strong here, and come back to your down dog. peel it out or hold still. So we're going to do pretty much the same thing one more time, but we're going to see this time if we can do it without bringing our hands to the floor. Okay, so bend knees, bring the right foot forward and float on up. Bend the back knee as you open, arms high. Now bring the back knee down and open. If it's too quick, you can slow it down a little bit. Rise on up. Oh, I just realized my head's getting cut off, sorry. Now tuck the toes under and see if you can lift that back knee off. Sorry, I only just realized I have no head. Oh dear. You can still see the important parts, which is the legs. Touch down and step back. So left foot through, big step, sweeping up, open, and rise. Lower the back knee down. So still pulling in through the front of the body. Good, strong pose. Coming back up again, so this is the trickiest part. Tuck toes, knee off, and open. All right, this time we're coming in for a forward fold. Stepping in. So feet under hips, soften knees, and relax your body down. Let your head hang. Maybe loosen up through shoulders, roll them a few times. Spread toes, really drop into your feet. You may want to float hands around to one side and then the other. So it's up to you whether you prefer a bit of movement or prefer to stay still. All right, now curling all the way up to standing. You can take your time here if you want to. We're going to stay standing when we get to the top. Float arms up. And bring hands down to your center. Stay here for a moment. Close your eyes if you want to. Spread toes. Really settle into the feet. Notice if you're rocking forward or rocking back, and try to find a place somewhere in between where you feel most stable. And then traveling up through the body, we're still gently drawing in through the belly, so the tailbone is lengthening down. So trying to ensure that we're stacking from the pelvis to the rib cage, across shoulders, and to the position of the head. So we want just enough tension in the belly to close in through the front ribs so that we're not popping the chest and belly forward. And just like when we were seated, let's do a few breaths here. So sweep arms down and reach them up. Lift the rib cage, eyes can follow if you want to. And sweep down all the way to the bottom. You might find that you kind of rock back into your heels at this point. And then as we rise, slightly rocking forward into the balls of the feet. And down. Let's just do this 2 more times in your own time, at your own pace. See if you can keep the integrity of your posture so you're feeling strong and stable through the core. And one more time. This time we're going to come all the way down into a forward fold. So soften the knees, releasing. And then step the right foot back into a lunge. Sweep arms up. Now shift your weight into the front leg and drag the back leg off. Sweep arms wide and all the way to the back. So try not to drop the head, look straight down to the ground. See if you can dive the chest a little bit lower. If you touch down, just come straight back up like I did. And then step down, sweep arms high, bend the back knee, arms open. Rise on up and step to your forward fold. Shift the weight forward and float fingertips to the floor and then bring feet under hips. Let's rise on up. So curl through the spine, curl all the way to the top. Continue to float arms high and release all the way down to your forward fold. This time we'll step the left foot back, sweep arms up. So remember, we're not pulling them so far back that we're losing this whole core integrity. Then shift your way forward, float the back leg off when you're feeling steady. Try and keep your hips and shoulders level to the ground. There's a little bit of a bend in the standing knee. Sweep arms wide and pull them back. Maybe dive a little further if you can. Steady your eye focus. And then step the back foot down, right up on the toes. Bend the back knee, sweeping up. Shift your weight forward and step in nice and lightly to your forward fold. All right, just hanging out in your forward fold. Tilt the hips up, relax your upper body down, maybe shake out the head. Maybe sway from side to side. And then we'll scoot one leg under, come and take a seat, and just settle in for a moment while I move my camera. Okay. All right, now shoot the legs out long in front of you, face anywhere you want to. So we're sitting up nice and tall. You may need to have the knees a little bent here so that you can sit up tall. Sometimes when you've got the legs straight, you start to fall backwards a little. So tipping from hips, start to float forward. Keep the feet flexed so the legs are strong. And just bring hands either side. Just lean in, tilt the chin. Just a couple of breaths here. So it's just like when we were in our forward fold. We want just a little bit of softness in the knees, a little straighter if you can, but focus on trying to keep your spine really long so we're not hunching and rounding. All right, sitting up again, bring one knee up. So foot by the calf or higher up by the thigh. Just make sure that you're not falling back and slumping into the pose. Sitting up tall, strong, straight leg. Flex the foot, then turn towards the thigh. Wrap your hand or elbow around. Other hand just floats behind on fingertips and try and broaden across the shoulders and let your eye gaze trail behind. At every out breath, turn your body a little further. Now turning to face the feet again. Open your knee out to the side. Remember, it could be further away, could be up closer. And then tipping from hips, float hands either side of your leg. Just leaning in. So we're not trying to curve and reach and bring nose to knee, nothing like that. We want to stay long through the front line of the body so that we're not bunching into the belly and just leaning forward, floating hands so the shoulders can be relaxed. And it does help to keep the foot a little flexed, so we're making this a more active stretch through the hamstring of the long leg. Okay, and then sitting up again, turn to face your bent knee, plant the hand and come up onto the knee, other leg long, and lift the hips. Rotate your body open, so you might be able to turn towards the sky. Keep powering down into that bottom hand, broaden across the shoulders. Big full breaths in this pose. Let's stay up here for one more breath in. And then slowly lower with the breath out. Come and take a seat again. Face any way you want to, but I'll turn around so I'm facing you. So legs out long. This time we'll bring the other knee up, whichever one you didn't do last time. Notice if you automatically start to shrug or shrink into the pose. See if you can find that vertical alignment first and hug in towards the thigh, and then we'll rotate hand or elbow, depending on how far you can rotate your body. Lift, lengthen, and rotate. Let your breath flow with ease, even if it feels a bit restricted in this pose. Just feel all the space to breathe into. Let your breath slow, and at each out breath, turn your body. And then turning to face your feet again. Knee open to the side. Choose up high or down low, depending on how much space you need. And then lean forward, float the hands down. Just settle in. Try not to actually drop the head, so still maintaining nice length up through the back of the neck. Each out breath brings you deeper into the pose. Okay, and then we'll rise again. Rotate. Wait, where am I going? Hand behind, that's right. Plant the hand behind the hip. And then lift off, sweep your arm overhead. Rotate your body towards the sky as far as you feel stable. Maybe you could even look up if you're not looking directly into the sun, if you're outside. Then pushing down into the ground, broaden across the chest, push your hips really high. Stay for 2 more breaths. And then with our last out breath, we'll slowly ease all the way back down and come right the way down onto your back. Bring your knees up towards your chest, arms open wide at your sides. And let your head rest completely down. So relax the neck. And we'll just bring the knees all the way over to one side. Let them relax down. Keep the back shoulder heavy. Turn your head any way it feels comfortable. Maybe a hand over the thigh if that helps to just hold the legs in place. And if you'd like to add on, you could float the top leg along, hold it wherever it's comfortable, and let everything drop back again. We'll make our way slowly back through center, so bend the knees, drag one knee up and then the other. Now we'll lower to the other side with an out breath. So take a breath in first. And with the out breath, start to move across. And rest all the way down. Eye gaze wherever you like, or even close your eyes. Try and relax around the throat, across your shoulders, easing any tension that you're holding in your hips or inner thighs. Take the time to just notice how your body is feeling, if there's anything that you're gripping onto. Let everything start to soften away. Maybe float the top leg if it feels good. Only go with what feels right to you in the moment. All right, slowly drag knees back up through center. Turn the soles of the feet together with your knees open. And let the legs just relax in this position. Let your knees feel heavy. Arms wherever you want them. And you could just stay here for a minute, or you can stay here all the way to the end, and we have about 5 minutes left of our class. So have a bit of a wriggle, whichever way you need. So we want a sense of broadening across the chest, broadening shoulders, checking in with the position of the head. So whether you need to tilt the chin one way or the other so that your neck at the front and the back can be relaxed. Softening down around the chest, around the belly, around the ribs, easing through hips, inner thighs. If there's any discomfort in the hips or lower back or groin area, you can move to a more comfortable position. Just turning your attention to your breath again. See if you can hear the sound of your breath. Allow your breath to move deeply into your belly, rising right the way up to your chest. With the out breath, softening down ribs, chest, and belly. Sinking deeper into the pose with every out breath. And then with your next breath in, let's sweep arms all the way overhead. Stretch legs out long. So stretch out as far as you can. You'll notice that the spine lifts away from the ground. Let's really exaggerate the movement. And then with an out breath, we'll gather knees up towards chest and allow the spine to curve the other way as we hug them in. Roll over to one side before finally coming up to a seated position. Take as long as you need to get up. And once you are sitting, let's find that vertical alignment again. So we're not hunching forward, we're not pulling back. We're just somewhere in between where the pelvis and the rib cage and the shoulders and the head can align. Now with your next breath, let's float arms open wide, all the way to the top. Lift and lengthen. Bring hands together and slide them down your center, thumbs to your heart space. Namaste, and thank you so much for joining me on this lovely sunny Wednesday.